Hey guys, it's Angelo, Christian Financial. Thank you so much for watching Real Estate Insider. This video is actually brought to you by Jenny Bowden out of Charleston, South Carolina. She's one of our subscribers and asked us to actually make a video on refinancing. And when is it worth it to refinance and when is it not worth it to refinance, Angelo? That's the question that Jenny asked us. So remember, if you are a subscriber and you have a question or something you want me to talk about on the show, please leave a comment down in the chat box. We'd love to hear from you. So this is the math that you actually have to do to ask yourself the question, is it worth it to refinance? And we'll have to do the math because math is your savior. Math doesn't lie, unless the numbers are wrong. But if the numbers are right, math doesn't lie, it tells the truth. And to determine that, it's the cost-benefit analysis formula. We have to look at what are the costs, what are the benefits, and we have to ask a couple questions to see if it's worth it for you guys out there to refinance with interest rates at all-time lows. Let's take a look and see. This is what you can do on you can do this on your own. You don't need a lender to do this, but you can just look at, this is a typical scenario that we see what's going on right now in the United States of America for people that have a mortgage, right? The average mortgage rate when they polled last year was 4.25% in America. That's the average mortgage rate last year. Today, the average mortgage rate for a 30-year fixed is 2.875. So it's almost 1.5% lower. So, and this is just using the average mortgage in the United States is $300,000. So I'm taking very general things. You can plug in your own numbers for your own loan size, your own rates. And really what you got to look at here is what we talked about earlier is the cost-benefit analysis. And the other question you got to ask yourself is how long do you plan on keeping the home? Right? Because if you're going to keep the home for a very long time, then naturally you'd want the lowest rate possible, because that way your cost of interest your carry costs are going to go down to much lower if you have a lower interest rate. If you have a high interest rate, then that's going to eat into your capital outlay, and you'll have less money obviously because you're paying more interest. So if you're going to be in the house for a short period of time, then maybe it's not worth it to refinance. If you're going to get transferred, you're going to sell that house next year, then you don't need to really go through a refinance. Why would you want to do a refinance if you're going to sell the home, right? So the first question is you need to ask yourself is how long do you plan on keeping the house for? You say, well, Angelo, I'm going to keep it forever. I'm going to turn it into a rental property, or I'm going to give it to my kids or live there. Then you definitely want to consider refinancing. But we're going to look at the math now. So let's just take a $300,000 loan. If you had a 4.25% rate, the closing costs are going to cost about $6,000. Now that doesn't mean you have to pay that out of pocket, but those loan fees go into the loan, right? So when we look at what's the cost, how do you do this calculation? Well, if you take 4.25 minus 2.8, it comes out to almost 1.5%. And then you multiply 1.5% by this 300,000, and then you come out with $6,000. And it's going to take about a year and a half to break even on that. So what does that mean? That means that you're going to spend $6,000 to go to the lower rate, and you're going to have to live in the home for 1.5 years or greater to make up these costs. And so the question is that if you're going to be in the house for at least 1.5 years or greater, then yes, absolutely it makes sense to refinance. But if you're going to say, no, I'm not going to be in the house for 1.5 years or greater, I'm selling the house in 3 months, then you don't even want to think about doing a refinance because you're going to pay those closing fees. And it doesn't make sense to do that. You see, so you have to look at what's going on with your situation. If you're paying a higher interest rate, now if you can save at least 1% or 2% on the loan, it is worth it to refinance right now in 2020 and take advantage of the all-time low rates. But it's with this cost-benefit analysis in mind. Are you saving enough money? And now if you're getting cash out and it's a large amount of cash over $20,000, and that even adds more gravy to the decision to help to do it, right? But I'm just talking about a rate and term refinance, just refinancing the balance and not taking any cash out. So this is a great idea, especially if you're going to get cash out. But this is just assuming that you're just refinancing the balance. So remember, you can always refer back to this video and look at, is it worth it for you to refinance? Do the cost-benefit analysis, right? Take the current rate minus your new rate and then multiply by your loan and compare that to your closing fees. and then see how long you're going to have to live in the home for. And as long as you're going to live in the home for that or greater, then it makes sense to refinance. Remember, we're a nationwide commercial and residential lender. You can call our office at 832-431-6331. You can also click on the link below to get signed up now to get pre-approved. We're a direct lender. We've been doing this for over 20 years. It's where America goes for funding. We'd love to help you and serve you in any capacity that we can with Angelo Christian. Please reach out to us. If you have anything you want us to talk about on the YouTube channel, leave it in the chat box down below. We'd love to hear from you to help you in any capacity with Angelo Christian Financial. And check out my next video, guys.